Hello world! WayofTime here, bringing to you another episode of EEPower. Now it seems someone might have detected my energy loop that I had going for me because my hydrogen has now gone kaputschki, so any second now it's just going to completely run out and this system is probably not going to work at all. That said, it seems like it's flickering, attempting to stay alive somehow, but it seems like slowly but surely it's going to end up in the dump. Which is kind of a shame, since there was so much to do with it. That said, the lighting is really getting annoying, so I might just turn it off for now just because of that. Okay, so what I'm going to need to do for this episode is I'm going to need to find an emerald because I still have yet to find one of those bloody things. And that'll help us get the ritual diviner that we kind of need to continue with the progression of blood magic, since some of the bloody things are really annoying to create, the rituals I mean. Some of the rituals are kind of hard to create without that sort of awesomeness. So, after I trawl through the world for a few painstaking hours, I'll let you know. Mwah. Mwah. Mwah, 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 mwah. I finally found you. 2, 3, 4. Yes! It's about playtime because I was starting to give up hope there. Okay, so my plan for today is to attempt to make something a little fun for Thaumcraft, since I figure that I'm going to try to become as powerful of an Archmage as possibly can, and by basically getting the stuff required to, well, how can I say this? Getting the stuff required to make the stuff for awesome stuff is a requirement for stuff. I think that's a good enough thing to carry on with, so let's actually go onwards. I figure that if I actually invest in something, I might be more interested to invest in it more, and that's probably as good of an explanation as I'm going to manage to rattle off right now, so I suppose that's how we're going to do it. Okay, I need my 4 diamonds, which are in another chest, and I also need my inks. The 4 diamonds are here, and I also got my elemental inscription tools here, and what we're going to make is a diviner. So we'll start with the tier 1 diviner, and for some reason it really loves me. So water, fire, air, earth. Water, fire, earth, air, there, and there. Now, you don't technically need a ritual diviner to construct your rituals. However, it's such a big time saver that I really don't think you need to do anything. Yeah. So we want to make a wisp grinder. Now, the purpose of the wisp grinder, as I mentioned before, is to make, or rather gather, as much of the ethereal essences as you possibly can, because they have aurum aspect on them and in a nice quantity. They also have a bunch of other stuff which I'm not really going to go into. However, it's going to be a nice thing for now, at least at this stage in our development of our game. So we're going to want to scope out an area. I think we already have one that's right over there, and we also need to have an ability to kill the buggers. So what I remember from some previous video is something from extra utilities, which are iron spikes, which will deal a large amount of damage, but won't destroy items that will land on them. Won't drop killed will drop rare items, but they will not drop experience, so this won't be useful for an experience grinder. However, we'll be able to use it as an experienced grinder. Ha! See what I did there? No, I hate my life. Okay, so I'm thinking we'll make a few of them. So that means we need to, let's actually do this in the same way. We need to get 36, I want 6 iron spikes, so that needs 2 blocks of iron Remainder goes there. And I believe it's this. I don't believe I'm able to shift-click it in NEI. Might as well try it now. Ha! Nope. That was a waste of time. Absolute waste of time. Literal waste of time. And you know what would have been a worse waste of time? Actual time. There we go. So, got a bunch of iron spikes. So if I place them down and walk into them, I get damaged. Which is obviously not something I want to do right now, because that would be a stupid thing whatsoever. So, these don't really attract things. So we're going to need an ability to track the varmints when we actually, well, attempt to get them. Yeah, you can tell I thought this through very well. Now, what are we going to be able to use as a decorative block? I suppose just a bit of that and that might be good. Can get a bit of wood as well with us, since we'll need it. And okay, I think we got everything. So let's go build at least the initial stages of our wisp grinder. I think it was this way, right? No, it probably was the other direction. You can tell how much I derp, because I derp a lot. Ah, yes, here it is. So we also have a few things in that chest. I'm thinking what I'll want to do is quickly make a crafting table, get another chest over here, because there's quite a few items that we'll want to probably save from here. I don't know, it's loot. Might as well pick up loot. Loot is good, loot is life. Loot is going to keep me up at night, I must tell you. Especially when we have to wait for this entire process to be over with. However, you know what would have been a good idea? To have some sort of magnetism sigil, or actually put some of the other stuff that we don't need in the meantime there, so that we can just throw it in at a much quicker rate. Though at that time, I guess it wasn't necessary. Let's grab this. Probably won't need the obsidian right now, but a bucket won't go amiss. So, we have to clear out this thing. So all the obsidian totems, all the other stuff, all the auxiliary equipment, such as the stuff around the wisp spawner. And we also need to make this a light enough area so that we don't have to worry about other mobs spawning. Though actually we need to have it dark for the wisp spawning. What am I talking about? I cannot even figure out. Now actually I'm interested. It's interesting that this pickaxe can actually destroy obsidian. I thought only diamond level. Well, this must be diamond level, this Thaumian pickaxe. Oh, by the way, if you haven't seen it, efficiency 5, lucky enchantment it is. So I'm going to clear out all this obsidian. I'll need to duck back in each time it becomes night again. But we're just going to want to clear this area of a lot of land. Don't have any spare diamonds to get any bound equipment, unfortunately. So I'm going to have to make do basically with what I have right now. Mainly my guns. Pow, pow, pow. Yeah, going very well their way. Okay, we cleared out quite a bit of the area. There's one unfortunate thing about pretty much all of this, and it's the fact that, well, it looked so nice with the dirt up like that. I mean, come on. I'm gonna have to... I'm thinking what I'll have to do is make this some sort of wizard's tower-like structure and have the wisp spawner there. Yeah, that's sort of aesthetic stuff that not many people talk about, so I might as well get into the build stuff. So, I am going to want spikes to kill the wisps. And unfortunately, that means I'm going to need to draw the bloody suckers in, so that means I need to make a ritual of containment. So ritual of containment is an easy enough one. It only takes a few blood runes. Right here is what it looks like. And unfortunately, it seems like it's an even number of spaces in between, so it's not going to be as symmetrical as I thought it'd be. So what I'm going to try to do is, first of all, activate this, which means like that. Rush of energy flows through the ritual, and this will make any entity living, other than players, get into its nice and cozy domain. And by nice and cozy, I mean its spikes of doom that are going to be right here. Now we're going to need to figure out some way to actually capture the drops, and I was thinking of having a vacuum hopper. However, it seems like that is not going to be possible at this stage. Let's see. Pulls nearby items into its inventory. This requires a pulsating crystal from Ender.io, which needs another Ender Pearl and another diamond, so that's kind of worse. This is vacuum pump. We have vacuous, not going to be helpful. And this is once again other things. Now, what is this? We got a vacuum, and we also got a fan. Now, this is probably going to require steam power, unfortunately, so that's not going to be an option. One thing I'd like to do, though, with this setup is see if it actually works. So I'm going to grab a lever. So basically, I'm wasting a lot of wood each time I do this. And thankfully, we do have a few bits of cobblestone. This will turn off the ritual for when I'm not using it. But then we're going to need to turn this on when it's nighttime. So I'm going to have to wait for that. That's going to be easy enough. Just probably, well, a few seconds for you. Night is descending upon us, so we get to see whether our contraption does indeed work. I'm going to turn it on now so we don't miss any wisps that happen to spawn. Now, I know spawners spawn in a 9x9 area. There we go. Got a wisp that was attached to it and decided that I want to stay a bit longer. Now, if I turn off this contraption, it should be, well, the wisp should get away, basically, because it'll notice that it's in danger and then just fly away from it. Now, it does seem like this contraption's a bit slow. Well, it's only a single spawner, and I don't have any method to pick up spawners. Ooh, there we go. You can see nothing's actually happening. However, it will slowly start draining LP when it finds one. However, since these guys are... There we go. It's getting closer and draining a bit of LP while the guy is in its grasps. However, because it got immediately killed, it didn't take too much. There we go. Here's another one. And there we go. So the unfortunate thing about this is that we're still going to need to figure out a way to vacuum all of the drops from it. We could try a water channel. Like have water on top of there. That might be a decent thing. I want to see how the mobs interact when there's a bit of water over top the spikes. It might be a messy solution. However, if it's a solution, I'm okay with that. Let's see. There we go. That'll be a water channel. Turn this off. See how they spawn, if they indeed do spawn, though. Because if they don't spawn, then it's a bit of a problem. Let's see. Nothing spawning yet. So that might be a bit problematic if they're not spawning. Let's wait a bit. There we go. Got spawned. Now it's getting attacked. There's the item. The item fell over there. However, we might be able to get some sort of water channel to work correctly. So basically we shouldn't rule this out yet, and if we do so, that means we can just get like a single hopper. Okay, unfortunately I can't turn off this entire system because frankly it's not turn-offable. However, considering that we know that this is something that can easily be done, might as well construct it. Okay, so I think I should wait for daytime. Maybe fly away or just wait a bit since it doesn't seem like I'm draining much and these guys aren't initially hostile. And we'll see what happens. Ooh, more stuff. Okay, so let's start with the initial water. I just made myself an infinite well here. I know physics is very weird in Minecraft. Let's see where the initial flow of water tends to go when in this environment. You can see that the initial flow just goes straight downwards. And what we're going to want is to direct the water in such a way that it goes to one central location. Now, I don't think that's going to be easily achievable, though I think many redstone masters would scoff at me for saying that because, well, vanilla people, they tend to be a bit better at water flow than little old me. Now, we have an option. We can assume that basically it's all going one direction. Or, sorry, we can assume that it's just going to be in the water and drop down here. Or we can also assume that it's going to be spreading out that direction. I'm going to assume that it spreads out as well, but I'm just going to make this as fancy as freaking possible. So let's go like this to just get an initial ring down. And now we basically have all the flow going every which way. Actually, we're going to need to do a block update there. Okay, so all the water is going down. It's going down and going to go into the corners. So it seems like the corners are where everything's going to head off to. Do I have that? Yep, that's good. That's good. And what are we going to do with the corners? We're going to need to go and drop down and see where those head off to. And I think that means that I'll need to cut off the... well, basically cut off everything. We'll have the floor, and basically all of this is going to be broken out of. That's horrible. Okay, there's the other flow. So we know one flow's there. We also have more flow coming this way from here. And we also have a bit more flow in one of these blocks right here. There we go. So just break out of this. Hopefully we don't cause too many tsunamis. Sorry, Japan. It won't happen. Much more. Honestly, we'll see, because I'm not too confident about this. And then we'll probably just have it all flow into here. This will flow here, this will flow here, and then we'll just have it go that way. Yeah, that seems like a plan. Seems like a plan. I actually like the idea of using vanilla water channels for a change, because honestly I've never done it before. Actually, I don't think I've ever done it before. Huh. It's actually interesting. So let's close this off. We're not going to need to bother her about too much light in here. Probably just that. And let's break that. Just a bit there. There. And that means there and here. So now we see all the water will go over here. And then we can just have a drop off here. Or a little corridor, basically, where we collect all of our items, because this is where all the items will end up. Or we can figure out something else. Up! Infinite water spring. Why you not actually infinite anymore? Whatever. I'll just keep you two there, because you're going to be saying, hey! Here! Take some warmth. Okay, that means that if we put a hopper here, we can get everything. However, I think I might want to make it such that it goes like this. Or we'll just put the hopper and then have the hopper go into the chest. And then that will be fed into some sort of item duct system so that we can pick it up like civilized gentlemen outside of the building. Which isn't bad. Actually, yeah, let's have the entrance here, and let's fall off for the 5th time, literally the 5th time. I should have some fall protection, because that's gonna be the end of me. No, I'm gonna vanquish an entire Crimson cult. However, a small little drop-off is going to do me in. Always a great thing. Always a great thing. Okay, so starting to build it, and I can see that some of the items drop out, which is kind of unfortunate. Actually, I can't see anything, so I'm going to put some temporary lights. Okay, if I drop a torch, it's going to get stuck over there. So if I throw a random torch here, you can see that it gets stuck there too. If I remove this, however, it does eventually clear. However, it does seem like I'm going to have to... this is annoying. Why aren't you going where I want you to, water? There we go. Now you can... Stop it! I said stop. Now, an unfortunate thing about very fast pickaxe is very fast pickaxe is very fast. So small alterations even will be disastrous, especially if I hit a ritual stone. Because that does happen quite a bit. You can see we have some of that stuff left over. So how are we to make it flow without making it flow, really? If we put the water here, doesn't seem like it'll actually go back. Baby, go back. Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. Ah, well. Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Ah, that's fine. Okay. We could have it go like this, but I think I'm gonna worry about the water flow problem myself, build it up a bit, then give it to you guys, because I don't think you guys want to watch me tinkering around with vanilla stuff too much. Let's see. It doesn't go anywhere, does it? Just kind of gets stuck. And it gets stuck in the corner. Great! Awesome water test. Take one. Let's see. Okay, so that is what we wanted. Our water is basically going everywhere without it going everywhere. So it's going basically straight down the holes, and that is what we wanted. However, we're also going to need to worry about the flow coming from these directions. So what I could do is just put some water down and hope that it goes into places without being a pain in the butt. Because being a pain in the butt, frankly, is a bit of a pain. Speaking about pains in the butt, these wisps have been really painful. Really freaking painful. Okay, so that goes there, which is what we wanted. However, obviously we didn't want that, so yeah. Okay, so if I do this, what would happen is hopefully, and this is a big hope, is that it'll spread out and then go just directly into those without causing water interference. And unfortunately there's a bit of water interference because now it's going over there and over there. So what we could do is, no, we can't actually do that. But what we can do is break that temporarily and have that break as well, because having that stuff break is perfect. Okay, there. It should be back, and it should go over there. And that should basically be what we wanted. Okay, so we're going to need to remove that bucket again. Hey, give me my bucket. Thank you. And have it basically go down there. Oh, really? Come on. Ugh. Give me a minute to fix all this junk. As another night approaches, I am finally nearing completion of my horrific structure. I mean, it looks pretty shoddy, actually. I'm thinking I might add bricks or stuff to it later on. At least make it look a bit more presentable than its current horrific, monolithic, disastrous consequences stuff. Yes, okay. I don't know if... Yeah, light is required to basically not be a bit of a pain for it. And I think I'm gonna close the hole up and see what happens. Unfortunately, I don't have any dark glass in here. But all I can do... Actually, there's one more thing I'd like to do before doing anything. And that is to quickly make 2 chests. One of them used for a hopper. Shut up, I'll get to you soon. There we go. There and there. And all that's required is to put a chest down here. And put this here. Come on. Hey! Nope. There we go. So everything should flow. I'm just gonna rotate the chest. Okay, apparently that doesn't actually rotate the chest. I thought it rotated the chest. I mean, come on, what shoddy craftsmanship is this? And making sure nothing actually can get to us. And one more thing is we're going to need to turn this off. There we go. Now things should slowly but surely die. Die a horrific death. Come on. Obviously they're not getting damaged, which is kind of a bad thing. Well, kind of a bad thing, really a bad thing, considering that the whole point of this entire construction... I think I'm gonna have to re-engineer the water channels, aren't I? This is gonna be a pain. And I mean that in a literal sense. That hurts. Okay, super awesome box of fun. Take 2. Let's get these torches out of the way because, you know, death, destruction, and mayhem does happen to await those who attempt to venture into the dark abyss, which happens to be me at this given time. Yep, but hey, don't you dare. I really freaking hope this works. Okay, so we're gonna need to go to our secret room of secretness, and hey, I need to go. Ow! Okay, thanks for helping me. However, I don't think it needed to be that helpful. Okay, so switching on thing, and it seemed like we already got a bit of ethereal essence. There we go. There we go. Come on. Come on. Yes, it works! Okay. So this is probably going to require a bit of explanation since it took quite a bit of time to manage to do. I didn't actually debug it until that moment, so I am kind of happy with myself at this present time. So it's rather simple. We already described the, there's still some spots, but that's okay. I'm okay with it as it is because just a ring, that's fine. Don't have to worry too much about it. In fact, I can even solve a bit more of it by doing this. So, what is happening in this contraption right here, right now, right when? So, as you know, the wisps are getting attracted by the attraction ritual, ritual of containment, yes. And then they all, well, die, and if one of the items happens to drop in the water pool, a few things happen. So, if it goes in the edges, it goes down one of these auxiliary tunnels over on the sides. Let's get a few torches so that we can see. So if I were to drop a bit of stone over here or over here, it goes into one of the 4 that are at the sides. If it gets in the corner, it'll go over here. Now here, it's easy enough. Okay, just got attracted, just dying, and went in. So if you drop it, it can waffle at there, but eventually it gets pushed. Like if it's over there, it'll get pushed, eventually combined, and pushed and pushed and pushed into one of the edge pieces. When it's there, it'll then drop down, and then we can see what happens there. Then, okay, so let's see, we got a few pieces of essence already. So here's the main chamber where all the final flows go. So we have the edges that are over there and one here. I'll explain this one because I'm really happy about this one. Then we have the corners. So the corners, they go down and they attach to one of the edges. So 2 of them here. So anything that comes here goes and is pushed into here. And this goes into here. And then they get collected down this way. So these then get pushed into the center with this one, and this one, and then are just pushed down this direction and into the hopper, and then we can collect the stuff out of the hopper when we deem necessary. Now my favorite part is the final one. We couldn't have it go down this way because then it'd have to pool down and go farther down. Could have worked, however it would have been annoying. However, I did put a sign to stop the water, so when something's up there, if I can get it up there, it'll just drop into the original water channel. And this does seem to work 100% of the time when it actually drops on the water. It does take, it seems like it's taking a bit of LP because it's constantly attracting stuff. Is it still attracting stuff? No, I thought everything's dead. Hmm, that's odd. Shouldn't you be finished attracting stuff by now? There shouldn't be an overall cost unless there's something down here that's actually getting pulled. In which case, it's rather screwy. Hey, oh, hi! You guys seem to be pulled and are in not so happy situation. So that's one unfortunate thing about this, in the fact that I can't actually select which ones get pulled and which ones don't. So I'm thinking I'll need to do, let's see, okay, good. Whew, running out of LP. What I'm going to need to do is figure out some way to just make sure that they go away. Because going away is nice. Maybe I'll put some conveyor bolts for the lulls to get rid of the rest of the essence. But I think that is enough for this wisp trapper of trapness. Whew. And, well, what we're going to need to do is actually pretty this up, because if we look from a distance, ew, that looks ugly. That looks ugly. It can look better when we put some brick or something, some actual stuff to make it not as ugly, but considering the first attempt at aesthetics plus build, it did pretty well. And I am running out of LP, so this will get us the ethereal essence, and maybe I can figure out a way to throw some redstone in this so that I can just get a redstone torch to go up there. That should be easy enough. A few redstone torches. Anyways, that's enough of vanilla, I think. Okay, let's move onwards if we actually have time to do so. Wow, who knew vanilla could be that tedious? Actually, pretty much everybody watching this video, I bet as soon as I said, water channels, yay, people were like, water channels, oh. Well, that's all the time we have for this episode of EEPower. If you like what you see, don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe to future episodes. Don't forget to slap me in the face if I ever mention water channels again, because, God no. WayofTime here, signing off. Have a wonderful day. And thank goodness no more LP drops.